started opening up about experiences that she had had. And she only opened up. Now, my mom passed away a couple of years ago, but a couple of years before she passed away, she finally opened up to, and this is just human nature. It's like people need backup because they're afraid to say anything. They don't want people to think they're crazy and things of that nature. But she opened up and started describing things that had happened to her. And I knew what they were because she was describing gurneys, and she didn't quite know. My mom was the old Italian, old-fashioned type. She never learned how to drive, and she was just pleased just being in the house and taking care of the family, and that was his mom.
Okay, so she had been abducted.
Yeah, she had been abducted. So, but she wasn't forthcoming about that in the early years because, quite frankly, I was scaring everybody with my, just straightforwardness about it. But to answer the question, yes.
All right, and on threats to keep your mouth shut.
You mean through ETs or through people?
Well, I had the impression she was asking that I guess some ETs have made threats to people to keep their mouths shut. Is that so?
Well, all the threats to keep my mouth shut were from people. And they were...
Well, that figures.
Yeah, and I mean, literally came... you didn't want me to go on in too much detail on some of this. Again, there's stories on top of stories with government people.
You were contacted by the government, weren't you?
Yeah, they came to my door.
Who came to your? Who exactly came to your?
Well, I had an experience where, there for several months they kept watch, and I mean they were blatant about it. It wasn't like I couldn't see it going on. They followed, and I wasn't just paranoid. Okay, and again, I think you're getting to know me by now that I look at things as they are. I don't swing too far to the left or the right, and if something may be paranoia from all of this, then I'm really strong about making sure it's not before I presume or assume that it is a case, and it is. And when there's a white four-door sedans sitting in front of your across the street from your house near the woods with two guys in it, taking 2 12-hour shifts for weeks and months on end, you kind of get the feeling that when you get in your car and they follow you, that somebody's watching you, okay?
All right, but when they actually contacted you...
They came to the door the first time, and I even went to the FBI to try and shake them off, and I can tell you about that, too. That was an interesting story. I was bold. I didn't care. I knew it was happening. I didn't care. But this is it. This is real. This is what's going on, and I was a lot stronger about that in my earlier years, and I've mellowed out quite a bit, and things have evolved.
Okay, well, they came to the door and said what?
They said, you have to stop talking about it. And that's the first words out of their mouth. You have to stop talking about it. And I looked at them, and I really did this, what I'm about to tell you, because I was, again, a little stronger, more full of, vinegar, so to speak. And I kept my mouth shut, and if you don't stop talking about it, and you don't keep it to yourself, and these were the guys that were sitting in the car following me around. They finally came to the door. It may affect your family. And so that got me so angry that I jumped across or leaped across the porch with my hands forward and just put my hands around part of one of their neck and shoulder and pushed them into the side of the porch. And I was just so raged because now what, you're threatening? I'm going through all of this stuff, and now you got the nerve to threaten my family. And I was squeezing this guy's, mostly his shoulder, and they stayed 100%. It was so eerie, Art, 100% and totally calm. The other one didn't do anything. I'm holding this guy up against the wall. I know my face must have been red, purple, and green with anger at that point, with all the frustration. But what made me scared was not because they were there and doing that, was like they just weren't responding to it like you think they would, like throw me down or do something like that.
Yeah, that's odd. You'd think they'd take the opportunity to become violent.
And I just let him go. And when I let him go, he just brushed himself off. And they continued to walk down the sidewalk, my sidewalk, towards the car. And then they both turned around at the same time and said, "Stop talking about it." And then they got in their cars and they left, or the car and left. And then I can go on with this. I mean, that's just another story in itself. I don't know if you want to hear it or not further. But
you went to the FBI.
I did, and they followed me right straight over there. That was in Houston. I went into the office, and the way the office was set up over there, and I don't know if it's still the same now, but I can describe it. It was fenced, and I parked inside the fenced area, and their car sat outside the fenced area. So they didn't even, budge from the FBI. They just sat out there in their car. And then I made some not nice gestures at them as I was going up the steps to go to the front door, like, I got you now. I thought I did.
So you got into the FBI building, and no doubt were given an appointment with an agent.
Yeah.
And my God, Jim, what did you say?
You know what? When I went in there, it reminded me of a doctor's office, because the receptionist lady, the secretary, whatever she was very nice. She was very polite, but she was behind a very thick glass window. But she slid it just like you were at a doctor's office. That's what it reminded me of. And I said, I got a real problem. And then all of a sudden I thought, oh my God. What am I going to tell this guy? I've got aliens chasing me, and I've got these people.
Exactly.
So I just switched gears right away. I said, there's a demonic cult that's bothering my family in bad ways, and I want to talk to somebody about it. That was all I come out of my mouth. What else? I'm thinking, man, what are they going to do? Baker act me, put me in, whatever. Say, lock me up. You got a cuckoo here. And so when the guy came out, the gentleman came out. You could tell he had special agent so-and-so. He was a supervisor. He was kind. He was reserved. He was very calm. And I said, look, I've got some kind of cult, devil cult, or whatever it is, that is bothering myself and my family. I said, and they're even hanging around in a car. They're following us. And I was real calm, and I didn't want to act like some paranoid, delusional freak, off the street. And I looked well.
Sure.
Okay? And I spoke well. And what he said was simple. He said, the FBI will only get involved in things like that. First he said, cults are perfectly legal, okay? He said, however, the ones that are not legal, he said, local law enforcement or your local law enforcement has to contact us first to say there's a problem. So what you need to do first is go to your local police. And then
that sounds exactly like what they would say.
That's what he told me. But I'll tell you what bothered me, Art. And he was nice to me, okay? And I felt calm, okay? So and this really bothered me. And look, I'm not pointing fingers at this. I'm not one of those that do that. I don't want to say government conspiracy. I don't want to say this because there's an answer for that, too, with amnesty, and I can get into that if there's time. And all this is not coming from me. It's coming from higher minds than mine that I've been interacting with. But when he walked me to the door and he opened the door, and as I started to go down the steps, the car with the two guys was still sitting outside the fence, and he gave him a nod.
So, boy, that'd be enough to make you go home and jump into another bottle of tequila.
Well, it was like I was coming to the point at that time, these things are going to happen. I'm going to get pulled whether I like it or not. I don't have any choice here. And I just came to the point, there's nothing I can do about it. So you're going to make your life back to normal as possible. When these things happen, they happen. Don't think about it. Just go on and see
Jim,
where it's going to go.
Is it still going on now?
Oh, in a very positive way, yeah.
In a very positive way.
Yeah.
So you're still having contact.
Oh, yeah, not quite the same. It's I kind of laugh now about the old days the way it used to be, because it was horror-filled and traumatic. There's no doubt about it, but it's different now. Okay,
Jim, hold tight. We'll find out how it's going now, and I promise we'll get to more calls in a moment. This has been really something special. In the middle of an extra hour from Manila, rain-soaked Manila, I'm Art Bell. Here I am, hour 5. I've got Jim Sparks on the phone, probably beginning to get a little tired by now, but probably tired of a lot more than just trying to do a program like this. Years and years of being abducted with